What is up, On-Chain Gamers? Welcome back to On-Chain Gaming. My name is Jake. So glad you are joining me for another video, and I just cannot make enough videos about Mirandus right now because I feel like every single video I make, by the time we actually get it edited and uploaded, there's already new news that's come out from Mirandus. I mean, we just had the most recent Citadel sale last week for $3 million. A Gala Games NFT from Mirandus was sold. That's just absolutely crazy. But now we just had a Mirandus AMA with Michael McCarthy, who is the lead designer behind Mirandus. He has built some other incredible games in the past. Definitely watch my videos reviewing Gala Games if you want to learn more about the team. But in this AMA, a bunch of information about Mirandus was dropped. So we're going to be getting into a bunch of things like what are the races that are going to exist in Mirandus, and what are the first playable things that we're going to get from Mirandus. A lot of really cool stuff, even skills, characters, just a bunch of stuff to dive into. So without further ado, let's get into it.
On-Chain Gaming.
In the most recent AMA, we learned that there's going to be 5 races to start in Mirandus, and they're going to have different rarity amounts. So the most common race in Mirandus is, of course, going to be humans. It makes sense. Humans, that's what we are, so they're common to us. It makes sense they'll be common in Mirandus as well. But then there's going to be other races in Mirandus that are less common, and these races are going to be orcs, dwarfs, elves, and halflings. So that's pretty cool. In the AMA, Michael McCarthy talked about how different races are going to have different strengths and weaknesses. So we don't know any of the information about that yet, but I cannot wait to learn more. Personally, I want to go as an elf or a halfling. That's what I'm about. Although I do have a majestic forge, and I would be totally happy being a dwarf as well. I mean, I would also be happy being a human, but just because they're the most common, I'm gonna try to get a less common race if I can. The next thing they talked about in the AMA are the avatars and how they want to make sure that everything that you have attached to your avatar is truly going to visually be attached to your avatar. So if we look at the screenshot that they shared, they talked about how we want your personal inventory to be on display. If you have a sword and a dagger, you will see them on your belt. Expand the items you can hold with better belts, pouches, backpacks, etc. And one thing that they pointed out, which I think is really cool, is you'll see this character currently has 10 rings that he's wearing, and we don't know exactly what the uses of these rings are going to be, but it is very cool that this blinged out character is going to be visible to everyone. So if you have 10 rings on, you sure as hell can believe people are going to be able to see every single unique one. So that's really epic, and it just plays into how they want Mirandus to be a virtual reality. And the way that things work in real life, they want them to work as similar as possible in the world of Mirandus. So in some games, they kind of do this, but I feel like no game does it perfectly. And if Mirandus can actually show every single aspect of what your character is visually, that would be very, very epic. So I'm looking forward to learning more about this as the game continually develops. So then the next thing that they talked about are the 3 stats that each character is going to have, namely health, vitality, and energy. So I think first, the really, really simple ones are health and energy. Health, if you want to be alive, then you have to have some amount of health on your health bar. If your health bar goes all the way to 0, you're going to die. Pretty simple, but your health is slowly going to regenerate over time, but it's going to be based on your vitality. So that is the second stat, vitality. And vitality is going to be impacted by 2 things. One, how much food you have. So if you've recently eaten, if you're on a full stomach, then that is going to make your vitality much stronger. But then the other thing is how much sleep that you've had. So if you've had a good night's sleep, or if you've been awake for a really long time and haven't had any shut-eye, that is going to affect your vitality as well. So if you have a full stomach and a good night's sleep, then your vitality is going to be super high and you're going to regenerate health very fast. But then you're also going to affect the last one, which is energy, and your energy is also going to generate based on how much vitality you have. So if you're well rested and you've had a good meal, then you're going to regenerate energy very fast. But what energy is going to be used for is actually casting your abilities or doing moves. So like if you have a flip move or some kind of attack move, the amount of energy that you have is going to determine how many moves, what moves, and how often you can use those moves. And it's very interesting that Michael McCarthy pointed out when talking about these different stats that some moves are going to require so much energy that early level players that don't have that much energy stat yet just literally aren't going to be able to cast some of the spells because they're going to require more energy than you have in total in order to cast that skill. But let me just quickly read these explanations that Michael had in the slide. It says hit points, adventurers will suffer damage and will need to heal. Vitality. To heal and have energy, you must eat and sleep. And then energy, all actions in the game require energy. So that says all actions. So even like baking bread or crafting a sword, everything is going to require energy in the world of Mirandus. So next I want you guys to listen to a clip from Michael McCarthy in this AMA where he's talking about skills but also drops and how literally some of these powerful creatures in the world of Mirandus might drop one of one rare skill NFTs that if you have them and you have enough energy to use them, then you might be super powerful and be able to do a really cool thing that no one else in the world of Mirandus can do. And this kind of plays into that like play to earn mechanic side of things where if you go out into the world and find NFT drops, then you're definitely going to be able to profit from that. So just listen to this clip from Michael McCarthy.
But also there'll be rare drops out there in the world. You know, for instance, let's say somebody kills the Minotaur King. I like the idea that there is not two Minotaur Kings. There was a Minotaur King, and if somebody can take him out, you know, he might drop the, you know, rare ultra spin Minotaur mega backflip attack. And there might only be one of those in the world, and obviously it would take an unbelievable amount of energy and skill to you know, enact it out there in the world. But it's cool to think that there's just one of them. You know, it's cool to think that there are incredibly special and powerful things that could be crafted or moves you can employ in the world that would be unique.
So I thought that was so interesting and cool what he was talking about there. I cannot wait to start getting more into this game and actually have ways to play it myself. It's going to be really, really cool. And I'm super excited for that. And if some of these bosses, like if you kill them, they're just gone from the world, I cannot imagine how difficult they're going to be. I know he said in past AMAs that like there might be bosses in Mirandus that are not killed for years. So that is going to be pretty crazy and pretty cool. Next up, Michael McCarthy talked a little bit about how avatars will kind of act like a wallet. And what he means by that is not that they're going to be like an actual crypto wallet, but that you're going to be able to attach some of your NFTs to a character and then remove those NFTs from a character as well. So that's kind of how it will operate like a wallet. But there's going to be some parts of the character that kind of have to stay with that character, and then some parts of the character that can be added and removed. So let's look at the parts that are engraved into the character itself. These attributes that are permanently a part of your avatar can never be separated. This is the avatar's race, the avatar's level, the avatar's hit points, stats, and abilities. So we don't know that much about each of these things yet. I mean, race, we kind of know, okay, there's going to be 5 races. It's going to be 1 of 5. Level, that's going to be based on, I guess, how much the character has actually participated in the world of Mirandus. And I wonder if like you level up a character, you might just be able to sell that NFT. Somebody else could buy that character NFT and then go into the world of Mirandus as like a level 100 character or something. That's pretty interesting, and that might also play into like the play to earn side of things. Maybe people will make a living by buying a low level character and then leveling it up, grinding it out, putting thousands of hours in, and then selling that high level character for much more expensive than they bought the level 0 or level 1 character for. So that's pretty cool, kind of interesting. And then hit point, stats, and abilities, we don't know as much about that, but that's going to be engraved into the character as well. Now, the attached on-chain things that can be removed or attached to the character, these are game items that can be added or subtracted from the avatar, are visual enhancements, crafts, materials, weapons, armor, clothes, maps. So that's kind of interesting. Michael McCarthy talked about how like some maps might literally allow you to find places that people without the map cannot even access. Like for example, maybe you have a map to a forgotten island or something, and if you have that map, you'll actually be able to find that island and exploit whatever resources are on it. So that's really, really cool. So then skills, which we've talked about a little bit, which are gonna let you literally do things in the world of Mirandus. So maybe you learn a special move, but if you take away that skill, that character won't be able to do that move anymore, because the skill NFT is what actually gives that ability to an avatar. So we're gonna finish with some really exciting news, and this is what Michael McCarthy is actually aiming to have playable by the end of 2021. And just the fact that any of Mirandus is gonna be playable by the end of this year is super, super cool, because this is an extremely ambitious game. But Gala Games is doing things a little bit differently in that most gaming studios kind of keep things under tight wraps, and then once there's a finished product, then they release it to the people. But Gala wants players to be able to contribute to the game's design while things are being worked on. Gala wants to be able to balance things based on player feedback even while the game is being built. So that means that we're gonna get access to things a lot earlier, but they aren't necessarily gonna be as fully developed as they would be if we were to wait 5 years before we get to see anything. Hopefully that makes sense. So the goal of Mirandus by the end of 2021 is getting some things playable. And the playable things that they want by the end of 2021 are avatars. Like you can actually go into the world, see your avatar, show off your avatar to friends, and they're gonna do that by having some deployable software and a meeting hall. So kind of how they were describing it in the AMA is that this is gonna be like a world where you can go in, maybe it's just like one town hall, one little tiny area, but you can load your avatar into a game and you can just walk around, interact with other people that are there. You can picture it as a virtual 3D version of the Gala Games Discord, and you'll just be able to walk around, show off, say hi, make friends, and just exist in a tiny part of the Mirandus world as a way to kind of just look around and see and be excited with other people, exist with your avatars and NFTs. They just want to give you a usable space so that some of your NFTs that you might have bought from Mirandus can start to have real uses even while the game is still being made. So I think that's pretty cool. I'm looking forward on like maybe shooting some videos or doing some fan meetups in a Mirandus town hall or something if that launches this year. I think that would be really cool. And I'm totally fine with them giving us just a place to hang out while they continue to develop the game. That's a cool idea, I think. But the second thing I think is super, super cool, which is they want to launch a game as a casual RPG on mobile. So the way that Michael McCarthy was explaining this in the AMA is it's kind of just gonna be like a super simplified app, maybe an overhead view where you can actually start using some of your NFTs. So me, for example, because I have a Majestic Forge, maybe I can start forging stuff in the world. Maybe I gather the resources and I can start minting things. And it's just gonna be a really simple RPG, a way to exist or interact with the world in a simple way before some of the more complex 3D versions of the world start to come into existence. And then Michael McCarthy said that after the full game is released, the app will turn into a way where you can interact with the game, but maybe in a more simplified way. You're not always going to be wanting to walk around with your VR headset in, fully immersed in the world. There's like different levels of immersion that you might want in Miranda. So sometimes you might want to be hanging out with friends in a tavern and you are going to want your headset on and you're just there and you're enjoying the social experience. But other times on the other end of the spectrum, maybe you're on a road trip or something and you just want to be able to keep on forging things. You want to be able to keep working on your forge, and you'll be able to operate that from your phone. So even though you won't actually be in the world, if you hit go on a forging of an item, then people who are in the world will actually see your character there banging away at the anvil because you've commanded your character to do that from your phone. So it will be a way to kind of interact and manage the economy, the economic side of Mirandus without actually being in the world of Mirandus on your computer or in virtual reality. This is really, really cool. I'm excited about all the stuff that is being worked on by Gala Games. I could not be more excited about the Mirandus project. I recommend that you guys check out some of my other videos about Mirandus because it's super, super cool and there's way more to learn, trust me. And if you enjoyed this video, leave a big thumbs up, hit subscribe, click that notification bell, because all of those things will help out my channel immensely. The algorithm just loves all of that engagement. And until next time, guys, have fun roaming the metaverse.